Zhao Zimei's mother thought this girl had many good qualities, but her personality was too stubborn, a bit single-minded. In the year she turned 28, something unusual happened to Zhao Zimei. She had an affair. When her husband, Han Shuahui, found out, he wanted to beat her up, but Zhao Zimei had always been like a wild child, running fast. Han Shuahui chased her for a long time but couldn't catch her, getting tired and out of breath. He had to stop, leaning on a stick, panting and cursing, "You lousy woman. Don't let me catch you, or I'll beat you up." Zhao Zimei had a strong temperament. She was no fool. She wouldn't give Han Shuahui the chance to beat her. She didn't even go back to her parents' house. She went straight to the train station. She thought about it for only one night, and the next day, she confessed to Han Shuahui. She said, "Han Shuahui, I don't want to be with you anymore." Han Shuahui stared at her with furious eyes, asking, "Have you grown bold? You don't want to be with me anymore. What makes you think you have the right? Your poor family has nothing to offer. Who else would want you besides me?" Zhao Zimei pursed her lips and said, "It's not my fault that my family is poor, and you're too self-confident. Leaving you means I'll be alone. Who would want me? But let me tell you, it's not that I don't want you anymore, it's that I like Lu Jun now." Lu Jun was Han Shuajuan's brother-in-law. When Han Shuahui heard this, he was stunned. "What did you say?" Zhao Zimei deliberately lifted her head and said, "I've taken a liking to Lu Jun, and he's taken a liking to me. We're together now. Do you understand?" This time, Han Shuahui understood. He looked behind him, spotted a wooden stick, and quickly picked it up. Zhao Zimei had already prepared, carrying her small bag, and she had run out. 2 years ago, Zhao Zimei married Han Shuahui. At that time, Zhao Zimei was 24 years old, and Han Shuahui was nearly 30. According to local customs, both of them were considered to be marrying late. Zhao Zimei's family only had her mother, and her father had passed away when she was just over a year old. Her mother never remarried and raised her on her own. Although Zhao's family was considered well off in the village, they still had some hardships because there was no man to support them. Occasionally, the people in the Zhao family would give them a hard time. So, the two of them led a relatively tough life. But Zhao Zimei's mother had a strong personality. She was determined to raise her daughter and then entrust her to a good family, and she would be satisfied with her life. Even though Zhao Zimei had been beautiful since childhood, her family's circumstances meant that not many well-off families were willing to marry her. They said she was a single daughter in the family and marrying her would bring misfortune. For the poorer families, Zhao Zimei's mother didn't want her daughter to suffer either. She had put so much effort into raising such a beautiful girl. She couldn't let her marry just anyone and have a difficult life because of the poor conditions. She had already suffered a lot in her life. She couldn't allow her daughter to suffer as well. In the village, girls typically got married at 17 or 18, but Zhao Zimei, at 24, still hadn't found a match. Han Shuahui lived in a village about a dozen kilometers away from Zhao Zimei's home, and he was even more delayed in getting married, remaining single until he reached 30. These two seemingly mismatched individuals somehow crossed paths. Han Shuahui, 6 years older than Zhao Zimei, had favorable conditions, except for one thing. This was why he hadn't married until now. His mother, Old Lady Han, was an unreasonable person, and his father was a bit of a simpleton, earning Han Shuahui the nickname Little Simpleton. Families like this generally made it difficult for girls to dare to marry into. But Han Shuahui's appearance was not bad, and he had a strong work ethic, earned a decent income, and his family had good financial conditions. Zhao Zimei's mother initially disagreed because she believed that, given Zhao Zimei's personality, she would be taken advantage of by the marriage, as Zhao Zimei was headstrong and straightforward. With in-laws and a husband like that, she wouldn't lead a good life. But Zhao Zimei didn't listen. She said she couldn't remain a spinster at home forever. Besides, by marrying Han Shuahui, she could at least avoid being mistreated by others outside and rely on her in-laws to protect her and her mother. Her mother couldn't convince her otherwise, and besides, Zhao Zimei was getting older. They couldn't continue like this. If she had the chance to marry, she should take it. In the beginning, after just getting married, Zhao Zimei and Han Shuahui were doing well. Han Shuahui, at his age, marrying such a delicate young bride, was very fond of her. He fetched hot water for her foot baths, massaged her back, and when Zhao Zimei scolded him, he didn't mind, thinking it was a form of happiness. If it weren't for Han Shuahui's younger sister, Han Shuafang, and her brother-in-law, Lu Jun, coming back home 6 months later, their marriage might have been happily ever after. Han Shuafang was 3 years younger than her brother and had been engaged to Lu Jun for years. She waited for her brother to get married, which finally happened 2 years ago when she married Lu Jun. When they married, Han Shuafang was 25, and she had argued with her parents and even smashed a broom over her brother's head about the matter. She said that if she hadn't done that, she might have been stuck at home forever. She had a fiery temper and didn't hold back. She would confront anyone, even her parents or her husband if she didn't like them, caring more about her own peace of mind. After 2 years of marriage, the couple had their share of quarrels. However, every time, Lu Jun would lose. He couldn't win an argument against her, and she would hit him. Over time, he learned to just bear with it. Little did they know, holding back would also create problems. Han Shuafang accused him of not caring about her, intentionally giving her the cold shoulder. When she got angry, she packed her things and went back to her mother's house. Lu Jun's appearance matched his name. He was truly handsome. However, he had lost his parents at a young age and had always lived with his uncle and aunt, which made his character quite meek. He rarely spoke to people. When he reached the age to start a family, it became a big problem because no one was willing to marry him. Han Shuafang, back then, married him despite her parents' objections because she was captivated by his appearance. Due to her brother, her parents gave in to her wishes, didn't ask for a dowry, and even brought some money and property with her when she married. Lu Jun's uncle and aunt did their best to help him get some land and build 2 houses for their marriage. They said they would give them back once the couple started earning more. Lu Jun agreed, and they got married. However, not long after, he realized that Han Shuafang was genuinely unbearable. They had tumultuous 2 years together, and he didn't know how he managed to anger her. She declared that she was returning to her parents' home. If Lu Jun still wanted to be with her, he had to come as a son-in-law. Since he had lost his parents at a young age, he was an orphan, so that wouldn't be a problem. She even suggested that their son, Lu Xiaofei, should be renamed Han Xiaofei, as she was the one who gave birth to him and raised him. Lu Jun was infuriated but had no choice but to agree and obediently return to be the Han family's son-in-law. This was his unfortunate fate. Once Han Shuafang returned home, she resumed her position as the tyrant in her family. Her mother had always spoiled her, even if she repeatedly contradicted her. Her mother still adored her. However, Zhao Zimei's good days had come to an end. She couldn't expect Han Shuahui to revolve around her anymore or even have a say in the household. Her little sister-in-law, Han Shuafang, had returned, forming an alliance with her mother-in-law. With that support, they weren't afraid of Han Shuahui opposing them. It didn't take long for their household to turn chaotic. First, Han Shuafang asked Zhao Zimei to prepare a meal for her, but Zhao Zimei refused, leading to a scolding from her mother-in-law, claiming she didn't understand how to be a considerate sister-in-law. Zhao Zimei thought it was ridiculous because Han Shuafang was older than her. Han Shuahui didn't defend her, and his mother hit him with a shoe sole. Then, one day, little Fei urinated on Zhao Zimei's bed. Furious, Zhao Zimei confronted Han Shuafang, who dismissed her, saying that it was young boy's urine and that Zhao Zimei should thank her son. She even added that Zhao Zimei might give birth to a big, healthy baby boy in the future. This comment, however, triggered Han Shuafang's mother, who claimed that it had been half a year with no signs of pregnancy, fearing that Zhao Zimei might be infertile. Han Shuahui's father, upon hearing this, became furious, stating that women who couldn't bear children were unacceptable. Previously, Han Shuahui had always protected his wife, but now he didn't have a reason to do so. Moreover, he had been eager to become a father, seeing that people of his age already had children around 10 years old. That night, he didn't care that Zhao Zimei was upset and immediately said they should have a child. Zhao Zimei kicked him to the ground. Han Shuahui was also quite an impatient person. He treated Zhao Zimei well, but when it came to the matter of having a child, he became obsessed with it. When he saw that Zhao Zimei was resisting, he became unhappy. At that moment, he imitated his mother and sister, calling her an eggless chicken. Zhao Zimei didn't back down and, in fact, got up from the bed to confront him physically. Although she was a woman, she ended up not hitting Han Shuahui, but rather, he got bloodied during their scuffle. However, from that day on, Han Shuahui developed a habit of domestic violence. Whenever Zhao Zimei didn't agree with him, he would resort to physical violence. Zhao Zimei couldn't defend herself and had no support from her family, so she had to endure it. Another person enduring the situation in this household was Lu Jun. After Han Shuafang returned to her parents' home, she became even more unrestrained. She frequently scolded and hit Lu Jun, and sometimes her parents joined in to berate him, making him, as a grown man, live a miserable life. Sometimes, Han Shuahui would take out his anger on Zhao Zimei after beating her, and sometimes he would direct his frustration toward Lu Jun. In this household, Lu Jun became a punching bag. Over a year had passed since Zhao Zimei had married Han Shuahui, but there was still no sign of pregnancy. Her position in the household continued to decline, nearly reaching the same level as Lu Jun. Given a small opportunity, both of them began to have similar ideas. They looked at each other with sympathy, both feeling like outcasts, and they started to share secret glances. They didn't have many opportunities to be alone, but every time they found one, they cherished it deeply. At first, Lu Jun was afraid, but Zhao Zimei reassured him, saying they shouldn't be afraid, and that if anything happened, she would take responsibility. Besides, they couldn't continue living like this with no hope. It was better to try for a better life. Lu Jun agreed, realizing that living such a stifling life as a man was undignified. Zhao Zimei discussed a plan with Lu Jun. She decided to confess everything to Han Shuahui. She planned to do it on the occasion of Han Shuafang's 50th birthday. She wanted to make her, and their entire family, feel miserable. Lu Jun wanted to stop her, but Zhao Zimei didn't listen. She set a date and location, telling Lu Jun that on that day, she would be waiting for him there. Whether they would have their freedom and a better life would depend on him. Once Zhao Zimei sat in the car, she breathed a sigh of relief. The good days she desired were about to begin. She felt a particular happiness when she thought about how angry Han Shuahui must have been. After all, he wasn't much of a man, resorting to violence against his own wife. She intended to give him the cuckold title and make his life miserable. Thinking about her in-laws and that hateful sister-in-law, she knew they would be furious once they found out about her plans, and that made her even happier. Zhao Zimei couldn't help but hum a tune in the car. However, she couldn't help but wonder if Lu Jun had managed to escape from his home. Did he listen to her and take some money from the house before she confronted Han Shuahui and Han Shuafang and left the village? That was their plan. Her in-laws and Han Shuafang were supposed to go shopping for groceries, preparing for her mother-in-law's 50th birthday the next day. Lu Jun was going to accompany them as a laborer while she and Han Shuahui stayed at home to prepare for the celebration. She had asked Lu Jun to find a moment to talk privately with Han Shuafang. She was curious to hear how Lu Jun described the look on Han Shuafang's face when she learned about their secret plans. Arriving at the designated place at the agreed-upon time, Zhao Zimei waited, but Lu Jun never appeared. She waited for 2 more days, but still, he didn't come. Zhao Zimei felt disappointed, like a deflated balloon. She had hoped they could embark on a better life together, but it seemed that Lu Jun had become a deserter at the last moment. A month later, Zhao Zimei made a call to her uncle's house. She wanted to know how her mother was doing. Her call was answered by her nephew, who said, "Cousin, I don't know what you did, but as soon as you left, the Han family started demanding retribution." The Zhao family didn't let them off either, and they said they wanted their son-in-law back. They had a physical fight with the Han family, and they were too scared to go back. But the Han family has been spreading rumors about you. They say you can't have children and that you were trying to seduce their son-in-law, intending to run away with him. Fortunately, he saw through your intentions early on and told the Han family everything. But you still managed to escape. Zhao Zimei asked if Lu Jun had said this, and her nephew replied that he didn't know. Regardless, the Han family and others were saying these things. Zhao Zimei sighed and asked about Lu Jun's whereabouts. Her nephew told her he was still with the Han family, and for some reason, the Han family was treating him much better than before. They said that Han Shuafang no longer scolded him and had become gentler towards him. Zhao Zimei muttered an expletive, hung up the phone, and mused about the complexities of human nature. Changing her perspective, she realized that she should be thankful to Lu Jun for giving her the courage to leave. Not being with someone like that was truly a blessing for her, Zhao Zimei. She looked at herself in the mirror and decided she would find a job and settle down to create the life she wanted. She was determined not to let anything stop her from living the life she desired.